What's up to Lion Talk Live? So we love you too, buddy.
What's going on, guys? It is Aiden Hutchinson.
What's up, everybody? It's Calvin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron, a.k.a. First Ballot.
What's up, man? It's your boy Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Greetings and salutations to everyone out there in YouTube land. This is Dan Skipper, offensive weapon for the Detroit Lions. Make sure you all help support Lions Talk Live, Coach Dan, by clicking on that like and subscribe button. Everybody, woo!
I love nothing more than watching Lions Talk Live every morning. Woo!
Woo!
Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube land. I am your host once again, Dan Thornton. Hey, I want to thank you all for actually waking up and coming on over to the show. It is Lions Talk Live. It is a morning show edition, and unfortunately, it is not the greatest of Mondays for Lions fans everywhere. And while there has been a crash and burn in Philly, it may not be all that bad, at least as much as some of us are going to say. We're going to dive into that today during the show. And you know what? We're going to do today's show a little bit differently. Let's talk about the game off the bat. Then we'll get to the 6 headlines now. I got a bonus one for you guys and everything in between. Because I get it. The Lions went in there and we're going to all talk about the same stuff. Goff was not good last night. In fact, as you can see from the thumbnail, he was Goffull. MCDC rolled the dice, and every time he rolled the dice, he crapped out, and that's a Vegas term or whatever. If you aren't a gambler, you might not know it. I'm not much of a gambler, but I know that, hey, he kept rolling the dice, going for it on 4th down, and nearly set an NFL record 0 for 5 on 4th down gambles. Who are you going to blame for that? Probably a whole lot of people are going to blame for that. I know some are going to talk about, hey, the wide receivers dropped passes, didn't get open, didn't hold on, whatever you want to say. Offensive line couldn't block anybody. One thing we can talk about is the Shep Flex defense. Shout out Bo and everybody else in the comment section, because the defense did what the defense needed to do. They bailed that team out a whole lot. So let's review real quick. On the road, in a bad environment, we all knew going into it, Philly was going to be a tough place to win, and not great weather. You did everything you could to be as bad as you could, and yet still, with under 2 minutes to go, you had an opportunity to potentially get the ball back and tie the game. Man, trying to give a shout out to everybody I can on the team that deserves it. Let's start with the defensive backfield. Defensive backs, you guys all get it. They're missing a whole lot of people, and yet they kept that Philly offense in check. How about the linebacking core for the Detroit Lions? If that wasn't one of the best performances any of us have seen in any generation by a linebacking core wearing a Detroit Lions uniform, I don't know what we're watching. Jack Campbell, let's face it, the Lions are the only team, and this is actually a stat, the only team to go and force a 0-5 on tush pushes in the tush push era. Let that sink in. We all know how valuable, how unstoppable that offensive play is. And yet the Lions forced an 0-5 by Philly. Everybody across the NFL last night is going to be diagnosing how the Lions did that, achieved it, and yes, trying to replicate it if they can. We did talk about it leading into the game. I think the Lions are an ideal matchup from that standpoint, stopping that play, unlike most teams in the NFL, because of how big both of their defensive tackles can be. And yes, they've got a whole lot of guys that are big there. They did push down on the center. Both guys jump in on the opposite shoulder. And then the other part that is just hard to replicate. There's only so many guys in this league that are linebackers anywhere near Jack Campbell's size. Jack Campbell destroys that play because when both tackles go in, they stop the tackle from being able to crawl forward. Who now has the kill shot at the quarterback? Well, Jack Campbell. And there ain't too many people pushing him around. We get that. The defensive line played, I thought, phenomenally. Although they were subject to giving up some opposite side pullbacks or opposite edge on reverse plays for the opposing running back. And yes, they did some good stuff. Now, I think we can all agree that's the good last night. Maybe you could say the special teams as far as kicking and punting, when we actually did punt, were pretty dang good. Offense, let's dive into that also. Let's start where all offenses begin. And to me, that's the offensive line. It was not a pretty sight. We all understand there's a whole lot of things involved in the offense. It's not one person. It's not one pass, one run, whatever you want to say. But the offensive line was beat up by the Philadelphia Eagles. I have to imagine all those guys are going to be feeling it today. Even when the Lions went 6 personnel out there with offensive linemen, Dan Skipper got out there. Dan Skipper got pushed in that backfield pretty dang easy. At least it looks like on film. Ratledge, he's had some good moments as a rookie. He also did not have a good moment last night. Did you know? I'm trying to give this kid all sorts of credit because he is a kid. He is a rookie. He allowed the most pressures out of any offensive lineman out there, and that's saying something because Goff, while he was terrible last night, let's also understand getting pressure in your face in a second or roughly right around there. I know, Pro Football Focus and a couple other places had some metrics that came out after the game last night saying that Goff was under pressure in like whatever it was, 1.2, 1.4 seconds, 1.5 seconds, something like that. That's not a lot of time. When we were doing the live cast last night, we were talking about it. The Philadelphia Eagles, by the second half, weren't even worried about the play action pass. If you did it, they were just automatically in Jared Goff's face. And you know what? That probably kills the play action pass, which kills any threat of the run, which kills any threat of even using the play action pass. St. Brown, and as I'm watching my notes here, looking at my notes here, St. Brown, Jameson Williams, they had some moments, and then they had a lot of bad moments. We're all going to pick on Jameson Williams for hugging the goalpost, and I get it. He's got to learn not to do that. That point could have been a game changer. We can also say St. Brown this year just has not looked like St. Brown. Last night, he had 12 targets, 2 catches. Some of those were uncatchable passes. I understand that. But having multiple drops in a game, let alone the season, I want to say he's got like 7 drops. And that is very un-St. Brown-like. Jameson Williams did have a few. I get Goff. Man, he just did not look good. I don't care what you want to say. I tried to defend quarterbacks as much as possible, not just JG. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the offensive line is giving you, what the receivers are doing. You got to place the ball in better protection than that. You've got to be able to place it where your guys can get it, nobody else. And then we all get it, the batted balls. Whether it's a credit to the Philly defensive line, or whether it's a credit to, I don't know, just something that they were able to tell on film that, hey, you can do this and bat down some of Jared Goff's passes. We're going to do a deeper dive in that. I know a whole lot of you are going to say, get rid of the glove. I have no idea. My philosophy is if you play better with it, do it. I don't really care, but I think we can all agree on this. Glove or no glove, Jared Goff did not play well last night. Is that the glove? I just don't know. We'll have to go with, man, you're going to have to go with somebody else's opinion, knows more about gloves and quarterbacking than me. What we do know is without the glove, he looks pretty decent in this league. With the glove, he did not look very well at all last night. The other point I wanted to bring up for everybody before we get into the 5 headlines now, is there a difference between Dan Campbell's play calling and then Johnny Morton's play calling? We can all have our opinions. Yes, the Washington game looked pretty dang good. Last night's game, man, he seemed like a riverboat gambler trying to get back his money after they lost the money, just consistently going for it, trying to be as fair to the game as possible. The Lions went on the 4th and 4, kicked that field goal. Does that impact the game? It does, because in my opinion, you change some play calling. Maybe you kick another field later in the game, and then, who knows? Whole lot of stuff to analyze about last night, but here's what we need to focus on now, in at least my humble opinion, where the Lions are and what you got to do to get there. Lions, as you guys know, are now in the back half of the schedule. You got the New York Football Giants, and then you got the Green Bay Packers, back-to-back home games, and you know what? You need to do something with these games. Lions win these next 2. We're going to all feel a different way about this team. You're going to be 8-4 at that point, and in a pretty good spot to say, hey, we're back in the running for the NFC North. But for those who don't know, as we speak this morning, Detroit Lions are the number 3 team in the NFC North. We all also get it. Hey, Dallas Cowboys got a nice stretch, finishing off a stretch of 3 straight home games coming up. You get these 3, you probably have righted the ship to a certain degree, but then you got the final 4 games after that. The LA Rams, are they the best team in football? Are they the best team in the NFC? If you don't have an opinion one way or the other, what we can all probably agree on is that they're amongst the best in the NFC. I think you got a pretty decent game setting up on December 21st against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh Steelers, I don't even know if they'll have Aaron Rodgers at that point, and that may actually be a benefit to them because right now Aaron Rodgers looks like a shadow of the past. Then you got the final 2 games, and these are probably going to be for all the marbles. You might not have thought of that 2 or 3 weeks ago, but going to Minnesota, that might be for a playoff game. And then going to Chicago, the last game of the year, date and times not yet addressed. Here's what we know. Right now, the Chicago Bears are in first place in the NFC North, and that game, amongst other games this year, will determine who gets into the playoffs and who doesn't. All right, Duke Crew, let me know your thoughts. Who are you throwing the most blame at this morning? Is it the offensive line? Is it the offensive play calling? Is it the receivers? Is it Jared Goff? Is it all of them? Whatever it is, here's what we do know. The Lions, as bad as they played, had an opportunity to win that game. And we could probably say the same thing was true when we played the Minnesota Vikings. Lions have got to fix some things. And in my opinion, everybody have your own opinion. It starts with that offensive line. What can you really do to adjust it at this point in the year? Probably not a whole lot. You're battling injuries. You're battling some less than ideal lack of experience in different positions. And what we've seen since the Cleveland game is bigger, more physical. Defensive lines give this team a problem. We'll see what shakes out. All right, with all that done, set out of the way, let's go on over to the 5 headlines now. Oh, by the way, in case, since I forgot to do it, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Also, if you would be so kind, hit the thumbs up button, the like button, hit all the buttons. All right, 5 headlines now. Jared Goff, the Detroit Lions offense fizzle in primetime, lost to Eagles, MLive.com by Ben Raven. Mr. Raven Nevermore is spot on with this. Goff, you guys all know it, couldn't hit anything. At one point, he was completing under 40% of his passes, the lowest completion percentage in any game of his career. Goff entered the game leading the NFL in that category at 74%. So a dramatic drop-off. The Lions were just 3 of 13 on third downs. We get it. Going into the Washington game, they were amongst the worst in the NFL at completing third down percentages. We also get, hey, we all thought MCDC was riding the ship. Well, not so fast. Lions also went, like I said earlier, 0-5 on fourth down attempts. Probably didn't help their own cause there. Those 5 turnover on downs, I should say, matched Detroit's own NFL worst mark going, in a 29-0 loss to the New England Patriots in 2022. Over the last 25 seasons, per True Media, those failures left a mark too because the Lions were punted on 4th and 10 with 3:05 left in the fourth quarter, despite trailing 16-6. And I know if you guys were watching the game, the live cast or wherever you're watching it, we're all saying the same thing in the chat. How is it you go for it on every fourth down and then now down 10 points with 5 minutes to go, you decide to punt? That would be a big question for Dan Campbell to go with. All right, Lions defend veteran cornerback after controversial penalty, and Eagles loss, MLive.com, Corey Woods. So the NFL, the one thing I would say is they're going to issue a statement later today or Wednesday and say, hey, we got that one wrong. Further review, the official got it wrong. We get it. What I will say, and going to give some credit here to NBC, the fact that both Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth stepped up and said, that's a terrible call. Or, because I don't know what the official's looking at. Yes, there was some contact, but it was by both people. And you really wanted to decide the game on that. The Lions did a whole lot of stuff to beat themselves last night. Let's not sugarcoat it. While that call may have been the exclamation point on it and accentuated it all, here's what we can say. It was a bad PI call or pass interference call on Detroit, Raquel Singh. Lions should have been getting the ball back. Whether or not they would have done anything with it, who knows? But what we do know is that play probably ultimately wasn't the make or break of it. It did highlight the game, and let me tell you, Raquel Singh, I actually thought played pretty good last night, much better in coverage than he had in other games. Not that he's been terrible. I just thought he had one of his better games. All right, NFL playoff picture after Lions lost to Eagles in a disaster for Detroit. Sideline report by Levi Dombraro. Probably not many Lions fans want to see this, but if you are a fan of the Lions right now, here's what you know. Lions are number 8. They are outside the playoff picture as we speak. Now, they control their own fate going forward. You guys all get it. They've got the tiebreaker against Tampa Bay, although Tampa Bay is probably going to win their division. Green Bay Packers, hey, you beat them. You're probably swapping spots with them. The Chicago Bears, you know what? You beat them. You probably got a pretty good shot to at least get into the playoffs. And then again, with the Minnesota Vikings later in the year, Lions control their own fate. You win some games here, you're going to get in the playoffs. You continue to lose some games, you know what? You're going to have a better draft pick, I guess what we can say. What we do know is the NFC this year is as competitive as it's been in a long, long time. You look at all the teams on this list, really, there's a whole lot of guys that can make it. It is a battle of haves and have-nots. I'd say anyone in the top 10 has a shot at making the playoffs. You get below number 10, I don't think they do unless they really go on a hot streak here. All right, next to the 5 headlines now, we do have a bonus one, by the way. Lions Jared Goff hits low point not seen since 2017 and lost to Eagles. You know what? There was a whole lot of people in the chat last night during the game just talking about Goff. Everybody's going to have their own opinion this morning. Can he win a big game? Is he the guy going forward in Detroit? I don't care what your thought is. I know that the only response I ever have is if you're going to get rid of Goff, who are you going to bring in? You guys have your opinions. Let me know it in the comment section. What I do know about Jared Goff is Jared Goff did not perform well last night. Is it all the hits he took? Maybe. Is it the offensive line? Maybe. Is it drop passes? Maybe. Is it, man, he just got every pass he threw batted out the line? Maybe. Maybe it's the offensive play calling. At the end, you are what your record says you are. You are what your completion percentage says you are. And you know what? His completion percentage throughout the season has been pretty good, but last night was not good. The last quarterback with 12 attempts and 0 completions under duress was Blake Bortles in 2017. Let that sink in. That's per ESPN. The 4-time Pro Bowler, Jared Goff, was 0 for 12 while passing under duress. Maybe it was the glove. Maybe it was the batted passes. Maybe it was a whole lot of things. What we do know is it was not his best performance of his career. And you know what? He's going to want to get that stink out of his mouth because he's going to need to do something differently when the Lions play the New York Football Giants this upcoming weekend. Lions going to need that win in the worst way possible because it puts you back in the playoff race, pushes you back into the NFC North race. You look at some of the teams you're going to be competing with for the North with the playoffs. Let's start with the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears next couple games, they're hosting next week the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, every Lions fan is going to be a Pittsburgh Steeler fan that day. Then the following week, they go and play on a Friday against the Eagles, the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm thinking the Eagles can win that game. Big one here, December 7th, Green Bay hosting the Bears, and then you have the Bears hosting the Browns. The Bears could lose all those games, to be quite honest. They've been winning a ton of close games. They could win some of those games, too. I'm not throwing any shade at the Chicago Bears, but I think we all get it. Then you have Green Bay on December 20th going to Chicago. Bears going out on December 28th to the 49ers before the Lions host them. So this next stretch of games, this next 7 games, man, the Bears' record could change exponentially, I think is what we can all agree upon. Let's talk about the Green Bay Packers. This week's going to be a big one. They're going to host the Vikings. Then we all get it. They're going to play the Lions on Thanksgiving. Then they host the Bears. Then they go to Denver. Then they go and play at Chicago. Then on the December 28th, they're going to host the Baltimore Ravens. And I do think the Ravens will be in the playoff hunt. So that's probably going to help Detroit. Whether or not the Ravens can beat Green Bay, I don't know. Final game of the Green Bay season is going to be Vikings, January 4th, hosting the Packers. A lot could change with their schedule between here and then. All right, now and then, whatever I want to say. All right, next to the 5 headlines now. Dan Campbell might not be the answer for play calling for the Lions either. 5 other takeaways from loss to Eagles, A to Z Sports. Mike Payton with this one. Everybody's going to have an opinion this morning. That's part of being in the media. It's also, hey, if you're going to be a coach in the NFL, it's part of it, or coach at any level. People are going to have opinions. The Goff report, we've kind of already covered it. You guys get it. He did not have a lot of time. He did not throw well. He got batted down to the line. Who are you going to blame? I blame everybody. That's just me because, you know what? I don't put anyone on an island. I think it's all of them. If there was ever a game to put the aggressiveness aside, it was this game. I would agree with Mike Payton there. I get it. When they're going for it once or twice a game, that's probably we'd all on board with that. But when you haven't gotten it that second, that third time, my opinion, like I said earlier, it felt like Dan Campbell was a guy at the casino. I lost some money. Now I got to invest more money trying to get it back. in my viewpoint, the 4th and 4, whatever it was in the red zone, Lions kicked the field goal there. I think it's a completely different game. I think you have some different things you could do offensively, and maybe they make a bit of a comeback. Maybe they even win the game. We'll never know at this point. But Dan Campbell definitely wanted to go for it early, often, and repeatedly. Reach for a storyline. We get it. The Lions got hit with a couple calls, no calls late in the game. The big one, obviously, is going to be on the 3rd down conversion that clearly Lions stopped, but then the pass interference came in. We've already talked about it later today, tomorrow, sometime this week. The NFL is going to issue an apology. I get it. If the guys up in the booth for NBC can say that was a terrible call, and they normally don't do that, you know what? It probably was a terrible call. Anybody watching it is going to say, yeah, that's not pass interference, is what it is. Make no mistake about it, the Lions have one of the best defenses in the league right now, and I agree. We started off the show trying to be positive Pete with everybody, and I would agree that the Lions right now, the Shep Flex defense, it's tough. It's all over the place. And think about this. They did that without Kirby Joseph, Terrion Arnold, DJ Reed, et cetera, et cetera. Now you start getting some of these guys back on the defensive line, let alone the secondary. That's where I think going for it on all the 4th downs really impact the game. Plus, the fact that you lose some of the field position battle. It's a night where the wind's blowing heavily. The elements are a factor, and you kept giving Philadelphia a shorter and shorter field to work with. I get some people, sometimes you got to get out of your own way, but they didn't do it last night, so it is what it is. What are your guys' thoughts on all this? I'm sure you're going to let me know in the comment section. A couple more here. Return issues. We talked about it during the game last night. Khalif Raymond looks like a shell of his former self. He's spending so much time going left to right and almost zero time going north to south. To me, that's a big problem, and they're going to have to get that fixed. It might be time, in my opinion, if something's wrong with Khalif Raymond, maybe he's afraid of getting his head taken off or something, then he can't be a punt returner. He can't be a kick returner because that's just part of the job. You've got to be able to be willing to put your life, your health in the line of fire, because that's just the nature of the beast. And if he's not going to do it, you got to get somebody else in there because you've got to get some form of return game going. All right, last one here. 6 takeaways. I'm going to power through this one because I feel like I've been going through all of them for pretty long here. Let's just see what they had to say here. And this is coming from SB Nation. Lions run defense stands up tall. I agree. The Philadelphia Eagles, other than some quarterback scrambles, really didn't do much on the ground. 4th down decisions could be better. We already talked about that. Secondary deep balls out again. The secondary played great. As beat up as they were, we get it. They didn't really give up much to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Philadelphia Eagles, Hurts finished with 14 out of 28 passing, 135 yards, 50% passing. Not exponentially better than Goff, but you know what they did better than Goff? They managed the game better. St. Brown continues to struggle with drops. Already kind of talked about it. Linebackers are all over the field. Man, how many times did you have isolation routes from the Philadelphia offense against, Jack Campbell, against Alex Anzalone? And you know what? Those guys won the plays. Sam Laporta, heal up fast. We'll see how soon he can get back. But you know what? We get it. He's got at least 3 more games. These are going to be big games for Lions that he's going to be out. I'm not going to worry about the rest of them. I think we kind of beat up the topics. Let's get over to you guys in the Duke Crew comment section and see what you have to say. But it's going to be a long week for Detroit. Everybody's going to be chomping at the bit to get back on the field against the New York Football Giants. Lions, hey, let me bring it up one more time. You got a nice stretch here. 3 home games in a row. You need to win all 3, in my opinion, before hitting the road against LA. And if somehow they win these 3, if you can pull off a win in LA, we're all probably going to forget about this game against the Philadelphia Eagles. The big advantage, in my opinion, trying to be as neutral and nonpartisan as I can be, is that the Philadelphia defensive line is massive. And while our offensive line is not bad, they struggled mightily with them. But I'm also going to say, in the last month and a half, anytime we faced a defensive front similar to them, I do think they're the biggest one in the league. We've had some struggles, and that's Minnesota, that's Cleveland. You guys get it. It's been a repeated thing. This is going to be a point of emphasis going into the playoffs once we get there, that the Lions are going to have to figure out. They're going to have to come up with a better game plan to help put that offensive line in a better position to succeed. All right, enough of the jibber jabber. Let's get to you guys. Michael D. Greetings, salutations, coach and Duke Crew. Exclamation point, one pride. Woo! Back at you. Trey, what's good, everybody? I am starting to think Campbell and Goff can't win big games for us. Time to move on. I get it. And, I would say this, table that till the off season. Once this season's over, everything's up for review. Brad Holmes, assuming you're not putting him in the line of fire, he's going to have to make some choices here. The hard part is Goff just got a contract extension. Can you quickly move on from it? I don't know. Is it, hey, if you put a better offensive line in front of him, he gets better? All that's going to be on the table. Some of you guys in the show last night, for the game, definitely want to move on from Goff. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing I ask is who's your target to bring in that's clearly going to be a replacement? Because if you move on from him, you better be able to go forward from him. Otherwise, you're going to send the entire team backwards. And not saying it can't happen. I just don't know who you're going to be able to get and, at what price you're going to get him. Miles Parker, on my side, disappointment still got grit and pride. I like the way you're thinking this morning. Michael D, hope Goff doesn't wear gloves again. I get it. I just don't know enough about Goff to say, hey, they really impacted the throwing. They didn't impact the throwing. I don't know. If I'm MCDC, I'm the offensive coordinator, let alone the head coach. If I think those things are killing my quarterback, how he didn't ask him to take him off, that's beyond me. But again, I don't know enough about him one way or the other. Lions Talk Live fan, can you say choke? Well, the defense didn't choke. That's what we can say. The offense, he probably got a lot of choke in there. Big Eddie, I don't get everyone griping about the gloves. Would not wear them make him better? Would not wearing them make him better? Yeah, again, I don't know enough about the glove topic. Henry Moore, good morning, Coach Dan and Dooku. What a team. What a podcast. Exclamation point. What a time to be a Lions fan. Woo! Hey, I still think we're going to the Super Bowl. Silver Sir, good morning, Coach and everyone. Back at you. Lionel, good morning, Coach and Dooku worldwide. Exclamation point. Last night was FUBAR. This it was indeed. There is a thin line between bravery and insanity. MCDC is walking a tightrope. Tears, no fears, though. Lightning and Thundercats, ho, with some exclamation points. Just Lions Talk Live fan, laughing out loud, yes, by Campbell, Goff, and the offensive line and our receivers. I'm throwing no shade at that defense. No, the defense, I think we all grit it. They played phenomenally. Kurt Steele, what up, though, Duke Crew? Tough loss last night? Yes, it was, my friend. Miles Meyer, Shep, and D were remarkable. I concur. France, in my opinion, Goff needs a good offensive line to be great. We do not have a good line, and everyone is getting hits on him. NBC had him getting, I knew it was something like that, 1.3 seconds to pass before pressure reached him. No quarterback can handle that. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's going to be tough for any quarterback to be good, let alone great, if you're only giving him snap, one Mississippi to throw the ball. All right, Detroit Matt. Good morning, Duke Crew. This makes Thanksgiving game even more of a must-win now. But the good news is if we got an easier week than the Bears and Packers, the Giants game should be a win. It should be. And I was surprised. I didn't watch the game, so I don't know what happened in it. But I was surprised the Giants were able to be very competitive with the Packers, even have some opportunities to win it late in the game. Kudos to them. But with an intern coach, all that stuff, I was impressed, I guess. Henry Moore, good morning, Professor Steele. I think it was a very winnable game last night. It was. We got in our own way, though. Miles Barker, I know, right, to at Franz Ferdinand. Silver Surfer, I heard somebody say that Goff has to show at least once that he can take a team on his back and complete throws all the way down the field. JMO's drop didn't help. Penalties ridiculous. Let him play. I think if we need Jared Goff to carry the team, I get there are a few quarterbacks that can do that. You could probably argue Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen can do it, but that's not Goff. If that is what he needs to do in order for us to be successful, then we probably all need to face reality. He's just not that guy. And again, we can move on from him. I just don't know who to bring in. Dave, our game management was terrible. Take the threes when we could have and win that game. I'm sorry, but MCDC killed that game. He didn't help it, in my opinion. He really, really did not help the game. Michael, on a good note, I'm leaving for Florida next Monday, hopefully on a victory Monday. I think it will be, my friend. Let's make it so. Silver Sir, Wright did not come up. Saint is under a spell at the moment. Something is happening to him, unrecognizable. Yeah, he's not been playing great. Is there something in play? Does he have an injury we don't know about? I don't know, but something is amiss with Amon-Ra St. Brown. Drake Big 80, I don't think the gloves helped him. That being said, the team and Goff had him wear them for a reason. What that was, I don't know. Yeah, again, I get everybody's got an opinion on the gloves. I don't know enough about the gloves to have an opinion. Detroit Matt, not blaming the refs, but that late pass interference call was total BS. The league needs to start finding refs just like they do the players for missed or bad calls. I get it. The ref clearly live thought they saw something, but replay is a heck of a thing, man. We all can review things and see something completely different on replay than we did live. It was not ideal. The Lions put themselves in a position where that play impacted, that call impacted the game, and that's unfortunate. Just greetings, salutations, Duke Crew, 0-5 on fourth downs, 1.3 seconds to pass, 7 drop passes, over, under, throws everywhere. What a loss. What lost the game for us? Question mark. All that combined. Yeah, probably true. Detroit, Matt, that last PI was total BS with some exclamation points. I think we all agree. I think the press agrees. I think everybody agrees. The problem is you let the game get down to where that can impact the game. Just good morning, Duke Crew. Back at you. Mary Smith, good morning, Duke Crew. Not so happy Monday, but at the same time, we are blessed to be here. I will go with that every day. If I can wake up every morning, hey, I'll be happy. Mark GT, MCDC needs to learn to take the points in low-scoring defensive games. I agree. Server. That pass interference at the end of the game was yet another joke pulled on the Lions. How can you call that at any point, and especially at that point? They would have never called that against KC. No, I agree. It wouldn't have, but they did against the Lions. 5 Fairies Freddy, MCDC looks a whole lot like Morton. Could be accurate. Mary Smith, my opinion is only my opinion, Goff can't play in the big stage. That game was looking at a repeat of Green Bay game. I really confused. I know we didn't have our main players, but my goodness. Yeah, Goff did not play well. I think we all agree. He looked terrible last night. He looked Goffull last night. And there's probably a lot of things we'll talk about throughout the week about it. MCDC is going to have to figure out how to put him in a better position to succeed. And that's coaching 101. Doesn't matter what your player is or isn't. You got to find a way to get them to help them be more successful. Stephanie, good morning, boys. Exclamation point. Loved our defense. Our offense just couldn't block and got in their own way. They did indeed. John King, good morning, coach and crew. This team is simply not a Super Bowl contender. Too many games like last night. Might be accurate. Might be. Let's see. Queen Mary Silver, I seen it. Couldn't believe it. Tori Apple, Goff needs a lot to be right in order for him to be good, and we don't have what he needs. So I get your point there. The offensive line, what do you want to say about it? Okay, we get it. Zeitler's gone, not coming back this year. Frank Ragnow retired. Those things didn't help us by any stretch of the imagination. All you can do is continue to coach up the offensive line you have. Hope they keep developing, improving. If they get better, the offense, in my opinion, will get better. Detroit D, exclamation points. Great game by our defense. I agree fully. Offense didn't show up at all. We will win if we see them again. I like the way you're thinking. And there's a whole lot of people leading into this game throughout the week said, hey, I'd rather win the playoffs than the regular season. And they were actually kind of rooting that way. Leonard, good morning, Coach Dan, the Duke Crew. The 1 point for JMO celebration and 2 fourth down gold stops and giving them great field position. All this cost us the game. We beat ourselves. I agree fully. In a game where the weather is such an element, and we all get it. We saw the weather, the wind blowing everything around, the pregame and all that stuff, affecting passes for both teams. Why you didn't play more of a field position game? I don't know. That'd be a great question to listen and hear what MCDC had to say. Mark GT, how many tries did Montgomery get at the end zone? Where's the beef? Good point. John King, maybe there's a reason LA traded for Stafford. If you ask them, there is a reason. 100%. So I don't know, man. I'm not going to throw one person on the bus. Goff did not play well, though. I think we all agree with that. All right, Dre Day, Hank Fraley needs a sit down with a surgeon on how to get his head out of his you-know-what. Very unprepared. The O-line was trash. This is how a good team loses and having a bad front five. The front five, to your point, Dre Day, they just haven't looked the same, have they, this year? And again, I get you've lost some people there, but it is what it is. John King, I know I mentioned this in the show last night, but the one thing we can say with Goff is he did something Stafford's never done. He won 2 playoff games. So who knows? Robert, is it all Goff or St. Brown? Where's the issue? I think it's an issue between the offensive line, Goff. I mean, just start with that. The running game, and we haven't even talked about that yet today. They had 3.5 yards of carry when you had a couple big rips. That's not much. So if you can't move it on the ground, there's no play action pass. Like we were mentioning earlier, you could see by the second half, the Philadelphia Eagles, they had zero desire. If you ran play action pass, they weren't even worried about the running back. If you're gonna run it, the linebackers will get them. And because of that, there were a lot of times Goff turned around and there was a guy right in his face. So that didn't help things. There's a lot of issues to unfold. Some of that, though, we need to be clear, is a credit to that Philadelphia defense. That front seven is massive, and they can rotate a lot of guys. They wore down our offensive line, I thought, pretty well. Leonard, we helped them beat us. I would agree with that, Leonard. Mary Smith, do Goff need gloves? Question mark. The first throw interception, what the heck? Well, that's because we got batted up in the air. They hit it up in the air, and then somebody ran under it. And then, I don't think it was an accuracy issue. I think it was a batted pass. But to your point, he had a whole lot of passes batted last night. Let's see, Pat Rock, St. Brown, 3 drops, Williams, 2 drops, Goff was bad, the O-line couldn't block, MCDC was trash. Who do you blame? Probably all of them need to take a little blame, right? Kim, we all know Campbell is a risk taker, but some of those 4th down plays just wouldn't work with the Philly D. No, they didn't. The 302 kid. Good morning, Coach and Duke crew. I have never criticized Goff until today. He was awful. He was awful. Yes, he was. And again, a lot of elements to it, but it is what it is. No, Tom Mitch. What went wrong was pretty simple. Absolutely no protection of your quarterback. Offensive line should be ashamed of themselves. Is what it is. They feel like they were obviously the coach is going to put out the guys they feel like are the best guys they have. Maybe they just means we don't have better options out there. All right, Dre Day. O-line has one job to protect the quarterback. They failed miserably. Tate looked like a rookie. The other guard was allowing breakthrough, and Monty and Gibbs just aren't ready to block linebackers. No, I'll probably agree with you on that. Steve Rogers, coach, you were right. Hutch looks broken. Yeah, in my opinion, the last couple games, he hasn't looked great at all, and it's almost like he's being overly aggressive, especially in the run game. You've seen the Minnesota Vikings use that against him. Last night, I thought the Philadelphia Eagles, what little run success they had, it's because they ran at Hutch because he would over-pursue and give up the edge on that side. They're going to have to fix that with Hutch because, I get he wants to get sacks. He wants to get to the quarterback. He wants to make a game-changing play, but he also has to keep your assignments clean. The 302 kid, we are still in the hunt. Yes, we are, with an exclamation point. Mary, I've never seen St. Brown miss so many catches. Yeah, he dropped a lot of catches, didn't he? Miles Margaret, exactly. Leonard Gonzalez, Mark GT. On the positive side, the defense kicked butt. Yes, it did. The defense looked good. Kurt Steele, the Lions defense played tough last night. Silver lining, the Lions roster is going to get even better really fast. I think you're right with an exclamation point. Sean G, morning, everyone. Back at you. Motown Mitch, the offensive line was so bad, even Sewell decided to get in on it and get trying to get Goff killed. Everybody took their fair chance not blocking, but I'm not going to throw any one particular player on the offensive line into the ground, but they, as a totality, they did not play well. Pierce, we really missed Laporta last night. Would he have made the difference? Maybe. He probably would have helped for sure. Harry Smith, good morning, Professor, and I really hope so. One funky. Hey, haven't seen it in a hot second. Jared, Scott Mitchell with a better attitude. Maybe. That might be fair, man. But, hey, Scott Mitchell never won a playoff game, never won the North, so we do need to be fair to Goff that he's achieved some things here in this 5 years here that no other quarterback alive has done. So while he was not good last night, he has, I'm not going to, take away from what he's done. Let's see, Kim, Mary Smith agreed something is up with Saint. He hasn't been himself lately. No, this year has been different for him. Coach Rock, good morning, Dooku. Big D, I'm around 12 targets, 2 catches. Agreed. Shah G, let's see, we were told we had little tweaks and we were okay. Nothing about that loss was okay. Let's see where they go from here. I'm going to be positive, Pete, and think they're going to get this thing worked out and now rip off 7 straight games. Coach Tiny K, hey, Coach and Duke Crew, exclamation point. How about those Lions? I think they'll rebound from this. Same old soup, just reheated. Good morning, Coach Dan and the Duke Crew. Back at you, Rob Hawk. Good morning, all, exclamation point. Terrible performance. For the first time, I'm starting to lose faith in the team. Am I wrong for feeling that way? No, after a loss, I'd say that's normal. But I do think, and again, hate bringing up the schedule here. Rob, let me take your if I was Dan O'Damas, which I'm not, we all get that, I would say the Lions win against the Giants, win against Green Bay, win against the Cowboys, win against Pittsburgh, Vikings, and Chicago. So if my math's not wrong, that's 6 more wins. That puts you at 11. You know what? Where am I? Or would that put it at 12? Maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, you guys get it. You're probably in the playoffs, and from there, you see where it goes. One matchup at a time. All right, Dre Day. Kurt, defense isn't the problem. Every player we get back for the majority is on the other side. The offensive line needs to be better. I don't know if it's going to get a whole lot better. Maybe Miles Frazier steps in and he is a saving grace for us, but you're also putting a whole lot on a rookie who's missed 2 to 3 months worth of conditioning, training, etc. But maybe he is that guy. Well, let's hope so. Again, we got shown we're not there yet, and that's okay. Eric Minion, good morning, Dan and Duke Crew. Back at you. Ludell magnified our quarterback issues. Man, you got no offensive line. You got no quarterback. You got receivers dropping. You got 0 for 5 on fourth downs. There are a whole lot of issues. But, Ludell, I get your point fully. Big D, our defense played stellar, though. They did indeed. Anymore, to your point, Kurt Steele, you are absolutely correct. Exclamation! I was totally happy with our defense. Yeah, I would think we have to be. Now, help me out one thing, though. When I was doing the show and doing the stats, I didn't show on the NFL page that the Lions had any sacks. I thought they got a sack or 2 last night, but maybe I missed it. Hassani Medley, good morning, Coach and Dan and Duke Crew. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Thanks for being a part of the show. Don Bird, play calling was awful. Wasn't great, was it? Leonard, Silverline, we could have won that game, but too many mistakes cost us the game. Yes, and so if I'm right in that the Lions can win 6 of the remaining games, that gives you 12 wins. I think you probably win the division at that point. Although maybe you don't, but you definitely are in the playoffs. Big D was put in a lot of bad situations. This loss falls on our offense. Yeah, offensive play calling. To your point, Big D, I know we already talked about it, but that's why I was surprised they didn't play more of a field position game with the Eagles instead of going for that midfield all the time. Because maybe if you hold them into some stops, you get better field position. Now you get more field goals. You guys get it. Ken, when Lions play bad or struggle, it's usually because our offense line wasn't up to par or outplayed. Exclamation point. We go as far as the offense line takes us. I agree, but that's probably most offenses as a totality. Don Bird, defense was great. They played great, didn't they? Jerome, many fans blame Goff, but we might need to blame the guy we say we all trust and let him cook. He chose our quarterback. He did indeed. So maybe to your point, maybe Brad Holmes takes some heat there. Queen Mary, yeah, Rakia Singh played like he belongs on the field. Yeah, he really did play very well last night. Kurt Steele, boss up, ball out, Flying Lions talk alive at 8. Leo, I'm so proud of the defense, so proud. 100%. You have to be, right? Tugs, MCDC cost us another game against a good team. There are going to be some conversations about that this week. Big D, our quarterback is great. I don't know about that, but you know what? We all probably understand Goff, when he's got time to throw, when it's a clean pocket, he's pretty good. But when he doesn't have that, there's nothing else in his wheelhouse. You take that away from him, he's quite mortal. Miles Margaret, wish it was a good morning, Hassani Manley, but we'll be okay. I concur. Pierce Stomber, I concur. Dan did not do a good job calling plays last night. I'll strive to do better. How about that? Big D, lots of drop passes. There were indeed. Dre D, the play call was fine. Players were getting open, but the O-line needed to give Goff 1 or 2 more seconds to wind up the arm. He was under a lot of duress, and we get it. Even when he had time, I think it's certain, probably by the middle of the third quarter, he was pretty rattled, and he had happy feet, whatever term you want to say. You know, his accuracy was off. The wind didn't help. I mean, I don't know. Blame everything you can at this point. Silver Servant, Mary Smith. Good morning, Mary. The Lions got beat yesterday. It almost all looked bad, but that defense was looking good, and I wonder if they shouldn't promote the starters to Legion of Whom. We'll find out. Coach Rock. Hey, morning, Coach. Mary, you have a point there. MCDC should have loaned Goff his specs. Ooh, maybe that would have done it. Don, Goff stared down St. Brown and got all night. Yes, there was, to your point, I know we were talking about in the failed fourth down conversion. He had Brock Wright fairly open for a touchdown. Unfortunately, he was laser locked on St. Brown. In my opinion, you allow the quarterback to take a lot of hits. They do get later radar locked because they don't feel like they can come off that first read. But the other part of that is, Goff, man, you've been in the league long enough, pressure or not, you've got to withstand that, and you've got to throw the right pass at the right time at the appropriate moment. He didn't do it. Let's see, until then, only positive Lions defense and Gibbs plus JMO, the offense in general, and the offense line stunk. I'll go with that. A reversion to the mean. It's not why we lost, but it's tiresome when $228 billion league can end by a judgment call from a single person. It didn't help things, did it? And I get your point about the PI call. Coach Rock, and top of the morning to you, Mary. Leo, Goff, and Dan cost us. Might be accurate. Mary Smith, Silver, I'm wondering the same. The program, oh Lord, we will be back. Let's hope so. I like the way you're thinking. Kim, D was great. Exclamation point. Kudos to one of the few bright spots in the game. Yeah, there weren't many, but the defense was a part of it. I say, Manley, are we out of playoffs? No, we're not. Well, currently, if the playoffs started, we would not be in, but we still have an opportunity to get there. Jerome, the blame this time on the threesome O-line, coaching, and somewhat the quarterback. I'll blame all of them. Yeah, the quarterback, the O-line, and yes, the play calling. Philly was 1-4 on tush push. Defense played so well. At least according to what I saw down there, they were 0-5 against the Lions. And I get some of that was the Lions forced a penalty. But yeah, I don't think they picked up a first down at all in the tush push. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I thought I read. Pete, is this show available as a podcast? Not as of yet. I guess you could download it on YouTube and play it at your own desire, though. I'll leave that to you, though, Pete. Until then, they are not a Super Bowl team, but with the current offensive line, they have lost to every good team. D-line they have played this season. Defense played well enough to win. They did indeed. Detroit Lions den, at least Gibbs still shined a couple times. He did. Him and J Powell did have their moments. Big D, Monday, no, we are not yet, but we are looking at the comments. You would think that. I'll go with that. Server, I still would start Monty to soften up that D. Let him hit them. We'll see if they'll do that. You got to know, Mr. Hosty, we cannot lose many more games going forward, though. Yeah, I think, again, hate to play the schedule game because anything can happen, right? But I think the rest of the way, you lose more than 2 more games, you're not in. I think really, though, Lions, if they can make it happen where they only lose 1 more game, I think they will be in. We'll see what shakes out. All right, Big Belly Lou, just like John Morton said, a lot of guys on the offensive line are just getting beat, and that makes Jared Goff play not good. I'll go with that, and you are right with that. Murray Smith, this one is for the Bucs trying to keep the faith in our Lions. I like it, like indeed. Let's resume the faith with a win on Sunday. Coach Rock, wish I could go through the film of that game and diagnose it. D was spot on, but it seemed Goff is short-arming the passes, easy to fix. Yeah, I think you would probably agree with this, Coach. He was getting hit a lot. And not to absolve Jared Goff for the way he played terribly, but you let a quarterback get hit a lot, they get happy feet. And, very few of them hold up with repeated hits. Let's see, Lauren Lyons, that game was the Lions for the taking. It was. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 12 targets, 2 receptions, uncharacteristic of the Sun God. It was not going to be an easy, in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know if he's battling through something, but he has not played well, especially the last, I'd say, 2 months. Don Burt, J-Mo has to grow up. I don't care what nobody said about the TD celebration costing us yards. It's childish. Time to grow up. I agree. You can't let that stuff impact the game. Big Belly Lou, it doesn't matter who calls them plays. If they don't get an experienced offensive line, Goff is going to have problems with talented defensive fronts. I agree with that. The defensive line is in different games, not just last night, but it's giving this offensive line problems when it's a bigger physical line. Lions or die, Jared Goff should have taken the gloves off. You should tell there was something wrong with his passes. Yeah, maybe. And again, if the coaching staff didn't ask him to do it, I have to assume maybe they know more than me, but I don't know. Maybe the Goffs impacted his throwing. Maybe they don't. All I know is he was not good last night. Attila Hunt, J-Mo's the only reason that they weren't shut out. Could be accurate. Trey Fitness, Gibbs, and the defense were the only positives in that game last night. Shout out to Dan and the Duke Crew. Back at you, Trey. How you doing today? Hopefully it's a good start to your morning. Big D, it cost us a point, and that's worse. J-Mo needs to chill with them Sellies, and hopefully he will learn from it. Silver, I stand with 10-7 or 11-6 at this at the most. But again, I have to see Goff win a game by sheer will to do so for the city more than for himself. Maybe the only thing I'd say is I think if we need him to do that, we're going to be disappointed. There's very few quarterbacks. The only ones I can think of in the league that can really do it would be Allen, maybe Jackson, Mahomes, and maybe to a certain degree Baker Mayfield. But Baker Mayfield is also a little bit of a wild card because he gets passes bad too. He's a little bit shorter. We all get it. Big D, Sellies. Miles Barker, I know, right? Big Belly Lou. Mike K, we stink. Don Bird, J-Mo scored and act like you've been there. Grow up. But, I don't know. We've seen so many people celebrate. I remember Calvin Johnson dunking. And now if he was to do that, we all get it. That would be a 15-yard penalty. Mike K, St. Pooh. Big D, Burr, 100%. Breeze, 9. St. Had an injured hand. Maybe that's costing them to catch passes. I don't know. Rock M, if the gloves don't fit. Ooh, there you go. Henry Moore, I also think that the end zone celebration needs to be toned down. Everyone knows you leave the goalpost alone. Yeah, the fact that he didn't know that, it happens. Nobody is worried about a mobile quarterback. Here's what I can say. He's been here 5 years and he's won games, and it wasn't because of his mobility. It wasn't because of his immobility. Last night, he's not mobile. Everybody have his opinion. We can go out and get a mobile quarterback. Can we guarantee that quarterback is going to be better? I'm okay with moving on from Goff, but I keep always saying this. Let me know who we're going to get, who we know will be better. And if you say Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen or Baker Mayfield, how do we get them? How do we get that guy? Well, go to the draft. The draft's a crapshoot. Look at the Lions' history the last 30 years. How many people have we drafted in the first, second, third, fourth, fifth round that are quarterbacks? How many of them worked out? That's the problem. I mean, remember, I talked about this last night, the Peyton Manning draft. Ryan Leaf, a lot of people thought he was better than Manning. Almost took him over Manning. How'd that work out? And that's the problem. We're going to tie our future to a guy that's unknown if it's a draft pick. And I don't know, man. I get the immobile quarterback thing, but at the other time, this is who you got. You got to make it work unless we know we can get somebody better. Motown Mitch, pretty obvious what was wrong with Goff's passing. In fact, is scared for his life. He's taking some hits. Never seen an offensive line try to get their quarterback killed like that. Can we get Goff backs? What the heck? I'll go with that. Taylor Made, I tip my hat to the Eagles D. They played pretty well, didn't they? They are a powerful unit. Till then, we blame Morton, but it was 20% him and 80% the offensive line. When Frank Ragnow retired and they didn't replace Kevin Zeitler, this team stopped being an elite team. Still love them, just being honest. I get it, man. And we can all Scooby-Doo it. Kevin Zeitler, why you didn't resign him? I don't know. He says that he wanted to be closer to home. In regards to Ragnow, maybe they thought Ratledge could replace him, but replacing him is going to be tough. Glasgow's giving you what he got, but he's no Ragnow. I think we all agree. Miss Abley, I don't like watching the offensive line fail. Campbell's will. We ain't going nowhere. Playoffs if that line can't get the push we need. Dan knows that. Dan was coaching for success in the playoffs. Might be. Let's see. Reference, everybody got their own bags, and now, maybe. Dre Decker said himself, the O-line has to do better with hand placement and stop D-lines from getting their hands up. Fault on the offensive line. To your point, yes, from a coaching standpoint, I would agree with that. And you look at where those passes are being blocked, they were against the guards and center, to be fair. So, a little less experienced guys, people are going to get airborne like that. You got to make them pay. It happens. Egon, it wasn't the gloves level out. He's not stupid. If they didn't work, he wouldn't have them out. Have them on. There you go. Don Burt, we have the next 3 games at home. Better win all 3. I tell you that. I like the way you're thinking. Breeze 9, Attila, we? ? Lions Den, seems we stink against good defenses, but how did we score 34 points against the Browns defense? Remember, special teams helped out. We did get, I want to say, an interception or 2, short field. Those helped out, but is what it is. Jason, are we really going with the glove excuse? Some will. I just don't know enough about the glove to say it's good or bad or indifferent. Let's see, Eric, I know they didn't seem to recognize the Eagles' blitz or stunts. I agree with that. It's like they masked them well, and we seemed not very well prepared for it. Backs stunk at picking them up, and Goff needs to ditch the dang gloves. Never seen trajectory that low, and passes just off a receiver's fingers. I'll go with that. Miles Margaret, hey, Hookadoo, you out there? We'll find out. Till then, we need media, public fans, etc. Lions, good morning, Coach Dan, the Duke Crew, exclamation point, sad game last night. Hey, anytime we lose, it's sad, right? Coach Rock, what do you got? We had, one decent game with a glove just to use the old-fashioned warmers around your waist? Well, maybe they'll do that in the future. Egon, Attila is right, though. We had an elite offensive line, and we don't dominate anymore. Yeah, we don't have that line anymore. Shaft, 3rd place in the division. Hello, wild card. Let's see if we can get there. Coach Rock, our schedule is proving to be a tough one. It is a tough one indeed. Silver Miles Bar Hook didn't set out they didn't set the alarm. Maybe accurate. Derek, good morning, Coach Dan Duker. I'm not feeling so well this morning. My seminal Lions disease is flaring up, and the cure of the NFC North Championship and the Super Bowl are no longer available to me. Well, let's hope we can get them back. Detroit hitter, if season ended today, the Lions are not in. That is correct. Big D, good thing is if we hold our future in our own hands, we got to win these next 3 games, beat the Bears in Minnesota, we take the North. I like the way you're thinking. Positive Pete there. No time, Mitch. Glove, no glove warmers. Some other quarterbacks, every other quarterback would have died yesterday with that line. I think it's a totality. It's the play calling. It's the line. It's Goff. They all were not good last night. Leonard, good morning. Dan and Duke, man, was a terrible game. Shout out to the defense trying to keep us in the game, but our O-line needs to help. We're in trouble. Your thoughts, Dan? My thought is the offensive line's been exposed a lot this year. Interior pressure, they're not handling it well. They don't block well. The tackles, I don't think they've played as well as they have in past years, but maybe some of that's because they're being asked to do multiple different things to try to help the interior. And some of it is the defensive fronts we faced. Those are some pretty good ones. But, hey, you're going to face them in the playoffs. You're going to face them the rest of the way. Again, going to the schedule, looking at what's ahead here. The Giants, they have a decent one. We all know Green Bay does have one. Let's see, the Cowboys have developed a pretty good one. Not great by any stretch. LA can bring the heat. Pittsburgh Steelers can bring the heat. Minnesota Vikings can bring the heat. The Chicago Bears, I think, might have the worst defense out of this group, although they are getting, somewhat better. All right, enter playoffs. Patrick, Bears have the easiest schedule. They do. When you finish last place, you have the easiest schedule going forward. Detroit Lions, we might lose at least 3 more games the way the offense is so up and down. All right, I'll go with that. All right, guys, we got 4 minutes left. I'm going to go through and get people who haven't been on as much. One funky, 4th and 3, and the fake punt turned into 6-point swing. JMO hugging the goalpost cost them 1 point, BS penalty. 3 smart decisions in those situations, and we tie the game at the end of the game. I agree with that. Don Burr, Bears play Philly, and the Niners, Lions coming up, not easy. No, the Bears schedule does change quite a bit going forward. Leonard should have took the points when we had the chance. I know no one winning, but the man at least try. Yeah, I get you there, taking the points. Breeze 9, there is not much they can do, but we should know who is dropping the ball. Tate, hey, people are dropping the passes for sure. C notes, watching Josh Allen, then Goff is like night and day. One tough, the other not so much. The problem is there's only so many Josh Allens. I mean, every team in this league would love to have Josh Allen, I would believe at least, but there's only one of them. Big Belly Lou, just like John Morton said, a lot of guys on the offensive line are getting beat. That might be accurate, very accurate, and standing out even more. Motown Mitch, never seen anyone as tough as Goff. Guy got up off that turf every play. To your point, he took a whole lot of hits last night, and he kept getting up. I get you there. All right, facts in 60 seconds. Bad time for a horrible game. I concur. Let's hope we don't do it in the playoffs. Motown Mitch, I know, right? Let's see. Coach Rock, seems to me that St. Brown is nursing some kind of injury. Just doesn't look the same. That wrist must be hurting. Yeah, it could be 100% there. Burns, most blame is on Goff. He just had a bad game. O-line played okay. Running back was okay. Goff had a bad game. We lost because turnovers. Goff, defense was awesome. Defense was pretty dang good. Lauren, good morning, Coach Stan. Duke Crew, I'm just here listening and have a busy day today. Go enjoy your busy day, my friend. Derek, kudos to the defense, Shep, and the Legion of Whom for playing a great game. They had a real good game. Reality Mike wants you to know what the heck. I'll go with that. And yes, good morning to you down in Florida. Craig, what a terrible interference call on Raquel Singh. That definitely was an offensive interference. I agree with you. I would agree 100% there. And I know the refs the commentators talked about it. Server, I was so glad to see Tyreek a little more present. So it seemed at least, and he made some plays there. Kurt Steele, if you said anything to the professor, sorry, I'm doing KP right now. My vets understand. Yes, indeed. Steve A, stop noodle arm and a first to the Jags for Trevor. All right, we'll shop them and see if they'll give us Trevor for Goff and a first. Number Trevor, hard pass. Steve A, this team is no Super Bowl team and never near it with the Bears look legit years ahead of this pile. Wow, man, how quickly it turns. Last year we were NFC North champs, and the year before we were in the NFC championship game, and now not so much. All right, Coach Rock, good morning, good man, Professor, and good morning to you. Back at you both. Xavier, great salutations, Coach Dan and Duke Crew. Hope everyone is blessed. Exclamation point. Lions defense was awesome after stopping tush push. I would have kicked some field goals to keep them closer. Me too, man. I think we all agree on that now. Greg, Bears are not winning the division. I'll bet the cash on that. Let's hope you are right, my friend. Reversion to the mean. The Lions have proven they're more than capable of beating the Lions. I see what you did there. Ryan, the win one, losing one pattern doesn't work. All right, Eddie's Fish. It was not at all on Goff. It was we had to have drop passes Bad coaching, bad coaching. Okay. Steve A, Bears are the best looking team in the division. They're also playing the worst schedule. I would throw that out there too. But let's see what they do going forward. They have some opportunities to prove themselves with the upcoming schedule. Reason I've said a million times, if Goff doesn't have perfect protection, he can't hang because he can't move. He cannot move. Broski, what type of season do you think Penei Sewell is having? I don't think he's having a Pro Bowl season like he typically does. No, he has not played up to par. The entire offensive line, to your point, Broski, has not been as well as it has been in the past. Bill, you can call me a conspiracy theorist, but that game was thrown. I've gone over every play last night, and it was totally obvious to me. Dan Campbell said we have a part in this. Maybe they do. Johnny Gaz, good morning, Duke Crew. Exclamation point, tough Monday for sure. I'll agree with that. Brian, y'all still love Brad Holmes. We're good. No O-line help. This is the same old Lions. Jacob, go get Kyler Murray for backup. Ooh, that's going to cost you a little bit. Motel Mitch, Broski, you are dead on so the stinking this year. Eric, all the passes that got knocked down, Goff stared his receiver down. He was doing a lot of that last night, especially after he started taking a few hits. So I agree with you there. Hey, more, I think that MCDC was spooked by the win. Might be accurate. No Rebel, good morning, Coach Dane, the Duke Group. Back at you, Chad the Historian. Hey, somebody I haven't seen hot say. Great play calling there, Campbell. Yep, it was definitely Morton. Now, what excuse is there? We'll find out going forward. Derek Lewis, I see two possible fixes. One, we draft, trade, acquire, and develop offensive line. We replace Goff with a more mobile B who can escape from pressure that an average offensive line will provide. Maybe. We'll see what they do, but that's going to be in the offseason. They're not doing that in the season. Silver Surfer Coach, we had Decker in the locker room. He was concerned, said needed to watch the film, said it wasn't scheme, it was good players. I think he felt beat. He was wondering if Detroit could win. Maybe, yeah, maybe a part of that for sure. Field goals, says the Rebel, and there might be a need for field goals. Phil, I thought Baki was going to play. If he did, I didn't see him, did I? Maybe you did, Phil, but I did not see him. Hey, more, good morning, Broski. A couple more here. China, Jared Goff MVP. Man, he wasn't MVP last night, I can tell you that. Eric, why didn't they use Tesla and Raymond more in the past game? That's a good question. I don't have an answer for you. Shaft Dan Campbell should be replaced if they don't win the Super Bowl. It's been 5 years, and coaches don't win. They haven't won it all yet. I'll see if they do. Only thing I can say is, man, last time we had a really good program was probably the 90s with Wayne Fonts, replaced him. It was all downhill from there. Jacob, we definitely need to draft a quarterback for the future. I wonder if they will. Phil, thought Meeks was going to play. Yeah, thought he was too, but you know what? They didn't get him on the field. If they did, I did not see him. All right, Phil, Lions are missing Ben Johnson. Maybe. Let's see, Miles Margaret stayed the course. Mike K, do we stink? Let's hope we can take a shower and rub it off. Let's see, Dr. Detroit, where are all the slappies at? Question mark. Where are you all this morning? I heard from you, Don Burr. Where are you at? All right. One for you. Lions are missing Frank Ragnow more than anything else. I think there's a whole lot to that, or quite possibly. The Phillips miss at the deadline was bad. Bad could have blocked the Eagles from getting better. Maybe, but it wouldn't have helped the offense, though. That's what I would say. I thought our defense played well. So would Phillips have helped exponentially? I don't know, but it would not have helped the offense. All right, just a few more, and then I got to go. We're already into overtime. All right, Shats, pointing a finger at Goff. Could be. Southwest, good morning, guys. Back at you. Brian and Dan thinks this all line can go to the Super Bowl. Hey, I'm going to always think positive. I don't know about you, Brian, but when I play, I don't ever think I'm going to lose. But that's just me. Coach Rock, for once, I agree with you, Broski. Eric, I don't think the gloves had anything to do with Goff missing open receivers. His ball placement was off. I'll go with that. Joe, we are the dollar store Lions. Every team has their issues. Ours seem to be not wanting to spend a few bucks to push us to the next level. Yes, indeed. Cynthia, good morning. Bummer. I'm just tuning in. If Jared Goff had wheels, he could have run and passed, steering away from getting the passes interrupted. It was sickening. I'll go with that. Phil, Goff plays bad at times in the weather. Yeah, might be accurate. Black Jared Jones, that was the longest 40-minute ride home last night. Well, hopefully it went okay in the end. All right, couple more. Let's see, looking for people who haven't been on. Let's see, Southwest. I was thrilled the offense playing perfect the next game. You normally stink it up. Let's hope they can right the ship from here. Chad, why didn't Goff take his stupid Michael Jackson glove The only thing I can say, Chad, is, I guess he didn't feel like he would do better without it. He was to blame for the loss more than anything. We've surrounded him with the most offensive talent in the league. Maybe talent, but not an offensive line at this point. Virus, Brad Holmes, great trade deadline moves boosted our team. Maybe not. Trey Fitness, Detroit basketball. Hey, they are doing well, aren't they? All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Sorry I couldn't get more on the show. We'll try better next time. If there is breaking news later today, I'll get it over to you as soon as possible. If you would be so kind before departing, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit all the ones. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Do something kind for somebody you don't know. Be a good human being. And we'll see you all at the next Lions Talk Live. Take care, everybody.
Excuse me, sir, would you... Donations to Reverend Moon? Jews for Jesus?
Read about Jehovah's Witness? How about Buddhism?
Help Jerry's kids? Oh, yeah. Scientology?
Or nuclear power?